Welcome to Sports Week. My name is Tolu. He's Dan. Let's look at the title race in England. The league leaders, Arsenal, fresh off that 3-2 win at Chelsea in the Carabao Cup first leg of the semi-final. They go to Nottingham Forest. This is a really difficult ground, the City ground, Dan. But with the way Forest have been playing lately, it looks like they're not particularly in the right frame of mind to cause problems for this Arsenal team. But then again, they're that kind of team that they never really give you notice when they're going to turn up.
Of course they don't, and that's one of the beauties of Nottingham Forest side, especially under Sean Dyche. They've had a rocky 7 days or so, a huge win at West Ham just a week or so ago in the London Stadium. That's put a decent buffer between themselves and the Hammers in terms of relegation. However, that was followed up with an FA Cup defeat to Wrexham just a few days prior. So that departure to a championship outfit is going to sting somewhat. It's probably put a little bit more pressure on Sean Dyche. I think the win over West Ham eased it slightly, but the mood has probably soured a little bit, and that's going to maybe feed into what happens at the weekend. But you never know this Nottingham Forest team. They are capable of pulling out something, not as capable as a season ago under Nuno when they were in the mix for Champions League football. But you don't want to go to the City ground, because when the City grounds clicks, it's one of the most noisiest, passionate grounds in the Premier League, and it's a real kind of nightmare to go to. A Tottenham fan myself, we got thumped by Nottingham Forest before Christmas 3-0, and when Forest are all guns blazing, it can be a very difficult place to go to, and that's something that Arsenal will have to keep in mind this weekend.
Well, for Arsenal though, I thought it was very, very surprising, the team they put out for Chelsea in the League Cup, even though you know that they're under pressure to win a trophy. They've also got Champions League action later in midweek. There might be a temptation to maybe rotate a bit as far as Arteta is concerned. What Arsenal team have to show up at Forest to get the job done?
I think they've got to show up defensively, because Forest will seize any opportunities going their way. I mean, we only see Gabriel give away a goal against Bournemouth recently. So if the blips do happen, they do appear, the opponents can be hot on their heels and punished. So I think Arsenal will need to be switched on. They can't take this game lightly, even though you consider Arsenal being top and Nottingham Forest being fourth bottom. This is not a given by any stretch of the imagination. But at the same time, when you look at the fringe players that played against Chelsea midweek, they did their job well. That maybe knocks them on the door for this weekend. So Arteta has got an element of flexibility should he need it. But at the same time, you can't be just sort of thinking this is a throwaway game, especially if Man City were to get something, being 3 points at Old Trafford. That would narrow the gap temporarily. So I think you've got to take this Premier League game just as important as any other that will be coming up in the next few weeks.
All right, before we take predictions, let's talk about the striking position for Arsenal. All of a sudden, they've got 3 fit strikers now, because Gyökeres, who doesn't seem to get goals, by the way, but they talk about how he occupies defenders. I don't think that's what strikers are bought to do, but we can talk about that another day. Gabriel Jesus also is back, as well as Kai Havertz, who's made a return to the team. There's really going to be a problem keeping all 3 happy as the season progresses.
Certainly is. It's probably a nicer problem for Mikel Arteta to have, but a problem all the same. What do you do in that instance? I mean, you've got Havertz, who's more of a false 9, so that does give you a different flexibility in terms of how you want to set up. But if you need goals, maybe it's time to sort of look at Gabriel Jesus rather than Gyökeres. Arsenal are almost in a bizarre position where they are top of the league without what you would consider a natural striker up top. That is probably testament to how good their defence has been, but you'd be surprised if they can keep relying on that back four between now and May. At some juncture, they are going to have to step up their goal rate if City get back in the winning groove. So there might need to be a tweak up top, but for the rest of the team, it's pretty much as you are.
All right, so let's get our betting caps on then. How does this one go? Forest against Arsenal?
I think Arsenal will win it. I think they will probably come away with a clean sheet. So I'm going to take Arsenal win to 0. If I fancy a handicap as well, I'd probably go on the -1. I think that they will manage to quell what threat Nottingham Forest have. I think, as I say, if Arsenal get their defensive house in order, then the rest of it will click. So I think it's going to be another disappointing day for Sean Dyche. Maybe that adds even more pressure. I don't think he's the manager but closest to the exit door at the moment, but a defeat could also make the mood rather cloudy over the City ground. So an Arsenal win to 0. If you fancy a really flush win, I'd add a handicap as well.
Thank you very much, Dan, as always.
Thanks, Tolu.